Today on DNVR Buffs Live, what is the biggest difference between this year's offensive line and last year's offensive line? We tackle that and much more on a Friday edition of the DNVR Buffs Podcast / DNVR Buffs Live. Let's do it. Let's go.
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota Source. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It's DNVR Buffs Live. One more day without Scotty Pockets, but it's Friday here.
Feels good, man.
We're talking offensive line. Travis and Shedeur have done it again. They've taken over the NFL Combine. Marshall Faulk had a great interview with actually Rich Eisen's wife, Susie, on the show yesterday.
I didn't know who that was.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we'll talk about potential CFB rule changes, but we start with the offensive line. Actually, we start with this. It's Friday. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Went to a demo for new golf clubs.
Ooh.
Last night. Spent a lot of future dollars in my head, but didn't spend any actual money yet. And that always just makes me feel good. New golf clubs really fire me up. So that's got me with a little extra pep in my step today.
Hell yeah. It's almost golfing season.
Might find a way to make some more money this weekend.
You could bet on the NFL Combine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I put in a few of them yesterday for 40-yard dashes on wide receivers and running backs.
I saw Jimmy was 4.39. That was the over-under.
I think so. Well, the one I saw him on Bet365, he was like the third favorite to run the fastest 40.
Okay, you did it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
What, you took him?
I did take him.
What was the odds?
Plus 850.
Love it.
You want to hear them all?
Yeah, kind of.
You got me going now. Okay. For wide receivers, I took Jimmy. Took TCU wide receiver Savion Williams. Virginia Tech wide receiver Jalen Lane. And Oregon wide receiver Tez Johnson. For running backs, I took Raheem Sanders, Brashard Smith, Marcus Yarns, Travion Henderson, and Jaden Blue.
All right. I like it.
So kind of the shotgun method.
Need a lot of those guys to be Broncos.
Oh, absolutely.
Need more speed. Need more just dangerousness on the field. By the way, it's also right. 63 degrees and climbing right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful out here.
That also will put me in a good mood, almost guaranteed.
It's almost spring. We're almost there.
Yeah, we're in what we call in Colorado fake spring.
Yep.
Everyone gets real comfortable, starts wearing shorts and t-shirts every day like me this week. And then when you least expect it, you just get smacked upside the head with a crazy snowstorm. Not a blizzard, though.
You never know. I mean, it gets crazy out here, bro.
It does.
We are, on Monday, we'll be a week away from spring football, though. That much closer.
That is crazy.
We're going to start with the offensive line today, previewing them. A lot to talk about with this offensive line, by the way. This is going to take a minute. Jordan Seaton, he's like the leader of the team now, basically.
Yep.
He could solidify. I mean, he already is one of the best tackles in the country, but if every college football player was eligible for the NFL draft, he would probably be a first-round pick in April.
Yeah. I mean, I said that, I think, like, week 8 last year, after it was in the midst of that time where he like didn't give up a pressure or whatever it was for like 8 straight weeks. It's invaluable, in my opinion, to have a leader on the offensive line that is also one of the best players. I forget who said it, but there was a legendary coach who said, like, when your best players are also your leaders, that's how you have a team.
Andrew Swayze said that not too long ago.
Love that. And for me, there's been a couple guys who stepped up as leaders the last couple years on the offensive line. But like most offensive linemen in college, they had their ups and downs, and it makes it a little harder. When you look over and you see Jordan Seaton setting the example, knowing if you know anything about ball, that guy's going to be a first-round pick later.
Yeah.
You have no excuse. No excuse not to live up to the standard that he's saying. And when he tells you should do something, you have to listen if you're serious about this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's powerful. And so we talk about it a lot for the team. Jordan being a leader, like he's going to be the best player on the team.
Yes.
Almost certainly. So that's great for the team, but really for the offensive line to have an example, like even though he could have been leading by example last year, it's just hard for a freshman. Mm-hmm. Now that he has all of that tape out there and he proved himself at this level, there's a real leader in that room.
Definitely. Leader for the offense, leader for the entire team. It's clear that, he quickly earned trust with the team, with Shedeur, with Travis, with the leaders of last year's team. And as Shedeur told us at the Super Bowl, he kind of entrusted that with Jordan to be the new leader with all of those guys moving on. So, you talk about resetting the culture here at Colorado the last 2 years. Jordan Seaton's going to be that bridge between that initial group of players that, did change the culture and what's going to happen from here on out at Colorado, basically.
Absolutely.
Transfers or freshmen first? Where do you want to go?
Let's go transfers.
So we've got 4 new transfers. First one, the latest one to commit was Mana Taimani. Played at Ole Miss. Actually, another beneficiary of the JUCO rule. Was originally a 2020 recruit who committed to Wyoming. Played there for 2 years. Went to Diablo Valley Community College in 23. Only played that season there, then went to Ole Miss. He's played in 16 games over the last 2 seasons, primarily on special teams. But I would not be surprised if he makes an impact. I've heard very positive things about him.
Love it. Give me the specs.
He is listed at 6'5", 305. He's the one that was training with Jordan in the sand pit right when he showed up.
Yep.
He's just been putting his nose to the grindstone, it seems.
Love it, man.
Next, we have Aki Ogunbiyi. He's coming in from Texas A&M, 6'4", 315 pounds, a 4-star recruit in the 2020 class. Signed with A&M.
What was the numbers again?
6'4", 315.
Okay.
Played in 23 games, 8 starts for the Aggies since 2020. Started 4 of the first 6 games of the 2022 season before suffering a season-ending injury. He's played guard and tackle. This is his last year of college football. Zy Crisler. The Crisler. Former Indiana offensive lineman. He's someone who has Illinois, sorry. He's played a lot of football too. All over the offensive line, listed at 6'6", 335. Do you see
There's a pattern for me.
Yeah, do you see a trend? Last year, played in all 12 regular season games, 6 starts at right guard, had 30 career starts for the Illini over his 3 seasons actually. Another beneficiary of the JUCO rule. Played his freshman year at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Has also played right tackle. So another guy versatile all over the offensive line. And then the last one, Zarian McGill from Law Tech, Louisiana Tech. Another JUCO beneficiary. Started there in 2020, became a standout player in 2021, entered the portal. After that season, committed to UL Monroe. Played all 12 games there in 22 and 23, earned second team All Sun Belt honors, re-entered the portal, committed to Louisiana Tech, and started all 13 games for the Bulldogs last year. 6'2", 308.
All right. First and foremost, I don't mean to raise any alarms. I saw a report that they were considering rug pulling this JUCO ruling. You seen anything on that?
I have not yet.
Okay, good. It might have just been like a one-day thing where there was some confusion over how the rule would actually be applied. But I just want to make sure there's no, Tyler Brown situations on our hand where we're finding out at the last minute that these guys aren't eligible.
A lot of these guys, they're coming in for their last year of college. The transfer specifically.
Now that we have the less fun question out of the way, how about the size? Every one of those guys over 300 pounds.
Yep.
Multiple guys 6'5" or taller.
Yep.
Only one, I think that you said was under 6'5".
I think
two
that
6'4s
was
maybe.
Well, Zary McGill's only 6'2", but he plays center.
Oh, right, he's a center. Yep. So only one non-center under 6'5". They are trying to build a wall, and maybe even more than a wall, like a wrecking ball.
Yep.
A wrecking crew. This is something that I think is a big change and will be when you just go to a practice and look out there at the offensive line. Obviously, the centers are going to be the smaller guys, but outside of center, you just have beasts everywhere. And it goes into something we've talked about, but it really is the reason for the headline of this show. They went out with a purpose in the offensive linemen that they were targeting this year.
100%.
And we're going to try to mow some people down. We're going to try to grade the road.
Yep.
And when you look at these guys, you can just look at a picture of them on the football field.
Yes, dude.
And you're like, that's a road grading guard. That's a run blocking tackle, whatever it is. They're built to run. And I think a lot of fans are going to be, I'll believe it when I see it type. But just following the arrows of where they're pointing, they're sending us right to this team's going to run the ball a lot more.
Yep. And I've been saying this a lot lately. Just go compare this offensive line to the 2023 team, the first year of Coach Prime at Colorado. I don't even know if we had a 300-pounder besides maybe Tank on the offensive line.
And that wasn't like a real 300 pounds. That was because he was 6'8".
He's 6'8", 6'9", or whatever he is. Now you've got guys who not only are they experienced, they're bigger now. And I think there's going to be, as you mentioned, kind of a shift in tone. This is going to be an aggressive offensive line, and I think that's why I'm so much more confident they're going to be better this year than last year. And I know we said that last offseason too, but offensive linemen want to go forward. They want to go forward. They want to, use their strength. They don't want to be going backwards, trying to stay balanced, protecting the passer 40, 45 plus times a game. It's just not natural.
I mean, no one wants to be moving backwards while someone is running towards you, trying to knock you over.
Exactly. Who's pretty much just as big, if not,
and
faster
a lot more
than you.
athletic.
Yes, exactly. So, and I totally get it. Wait and see with the offensive line. I understand. But there's a total shift in the scheme that I'm expecting from this team, and it's going to permeate through the offensive line, and it's just running the ball more. If they can be more physical, I think they're going to be better.
Absolutely. And sometimes you can actually have worse pass blockers perform better than better pass blockers because they run the ball so well, if that makes sense.
Absolutely,
crossing wires there. But if you start making defenses guess and you start making edge players guess what's going to happen on the next play, you can have a bad tackle look good. A bad pass blocking tackle look good because the defender has to think for a second before he goes and decides what he wants to do.
Just look at 2022. Terrible team. We all know that. But they ran the ball better than they did in 2023. And the offensive line, a lot of the same players from 2023 were actually able, to go forward, create some push. They weren't giving up 60, 70 sacks a year in 2022. And it's because of what you just said. They had at least somewhat of a threat, like, hey, we can kind of run the ball here.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I was a defensive coordinator going up against Colorado last year, I would have told my edges, I do not care if they run it into your gap. Like, make them do it 7 times in a row, and then we'll adjust.
Yes.
Otherwise, just pass rush every play.
Pretty much. Okay, we'll get to the freshmen and the returners and some questions on this group on the other side of this break. Shout out to Lucy Nicotine. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Other pouches can be hard to find. Lucy's just super easy. Go to their website. They got all their flavors. You can get even like, was it like a sampler pack, I guess is what they call it. Try them all. And they've got different levels too, depending on how experienced you are, I guess, with Lucy.
I believe it's the smoothest buzz in the nicotine game right now.
They are up there as one of my favorites. You know, I hate the pouches that are like, they get slimy like super quick and stuff.
Gross.
No. Lucy's got you set. Go to lucy.co/DNVR. Use the promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. Lucy also has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co. Use code DNVR to get 20% off. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
You know what I love? The Go Buffs Visa Signature Rewards card.
You had me for a second there.
Got to throw a curveball once in a while. Make sure you guys are on your toes. Yeah, you guys already know. Best credit card in the game. The only credit card that you can have that directly benefits Colorado athletics. That's pretty cool. They've got 2 different great looks for this thing. And it's just one of those things like you want to have in your wallet. It just looks cool. And on top of that, you've got tons of great benefits that you can check out over at buffscreditcard.com. That's where you can apply. It's also where you can see all the different benefits and details of the card. Go Buffs with the Go Buffs Visa Signature Rewards Card, the only official credit card of CU Athletics, only at Elevations Credit Union.
All right, so the freshmen already kind of made some noise. I mean, they were massive recruitments, and they were big-time recruits. 2 of them, at least, were headliners. They were 2 top 250 players, Carde Smith and Chauncey Gooden, 2 4-stars. Chauncey Gooden listed at 6'4", 320, continuing with the trend.
At 18 years old, bro.
Yes. And then Carde Smith missed it by 7 pounds.
Yeah.
6'5", 293.
I guarantee you he's already got those 7 pounds on him.
I'm sure. And then Jay Gardenhire, who I think we all kind of project as more of a developmental player at this point. But Carde Smith and Chauncey Gooden should be in the conversation to contribute right away. We already talked about Jordan. Your returners, though. Tyler Brown, Phillip Houston, Kareem Harden, Zach Owens, Yo-Yo Atia, and Cash Cleveland. This is just saying the names. The group sounds better. Sounds deeper.
Yep. Chauncey Gooden, we need to talk about him more when we're talking about impact freshmen.
Well, let's talk about it. How many of them start this year?
Of those freshmen?
Yeah, I mean, really between Carde and Chauncey.
I think it'll just end up being Chauncey. I think Carde has a chance for sure. But Chauncey, one look at him, you don't think he's a freshman.
Yeah.
And that's how Jordan looked after, once we got to fall last year.
Right.
Chauncey is already there to me.
Yeah.
You put a uniform on him and like that could be a senior offensive lineman. Give him the time that Jordan had, just transforming his body to just build on what he already has built, on top of the fact that he's just a dog. And I think he has a really, really great chance to start.
Chauncey has like the mentality that I think you want for this offensive line. He's nasty, man. Remember watching his film? I mean, he just throws people around. He's like a bouncer at the club, just constantly throwing guys around. He finishes blocks. He's violent. And that's what I think you want the identity of this team to be. Meanwhile, Carde, I mean, I've seen so many articles like saying that he could be like a true freshman, ready to play right away type of player. And if you finally get the 2 tackle set with Jordan and Carde, it makes the interior's job so much easier knowing that you can depend on those guys on the outside. Yeah,
I think Carde's got a really good chance out there. And if he can undergo a Jordan Seaton-like transformation, then I have no doubt in my mind that he can get there and play that way. His athleticism is off the charts. You know, we talked about Jordan Seaton's athleticism, I remember, with Andre during his recruitment, and it was just like, yeah, this is like generational type athleticism for a guy that's that big. Carde is just a little bit behind that in terms of athleticism at the position. So I'm excited for both of those guys.
Yeah, if you've been watching Well Off for the pregame show, just like the practice clips or the workout clips recently, Jordan in his pass sets, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense how you can move that efficiently while going sideways and backwards at that size.
Totally. I mean, it's like watching a great post player
Yes.
in the NBA, and you're like, how is this 7-foot guy so swift on his feet?
Exactly. So yeah, you have 2 freshmen who could potentially start. We'll circle back around to this though. How many transfers start, do you think? Guard has been the real position. I think that's hamstrung this team the last couple of years. That's just where the most immediate pressure is coming from. Right tackle has been an issue, but they've at least had some. Philip Houston did a good job enough there until his injury came last year.
He's back, right?
He's back, yep. How many of these transfers start, though? We've got 4 of them coming in. 2 of them have played guard and tackle. 3 of them have played guard and tackle. And then you have one guy in Zary McGill who's played guard and center.
I'd say 2. 2 new transfers start on the offensive line.
That's where I'm at, too. And this kind of leads us to my next question. Do you think Cash holds on to the center job? Because I think Zary McGill is going to really push him there just with how experienced he is. Not that Cash didn't do a good job last year, but I do think Cash could use some more time to get into his body in the college football shape.
But I think that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Sure.
Cash got a really rare opportunity to see and feel exactly where he has to get better as a freshman. And if there's anyone that I have full confidence in going and doing that, it's Cash. The other thing is like center quarterback is such a relationship business.
Right.
And Cash is just such a great...
He's everyone's friend.
Yes, exactly. He's going to have a great relationship with these guys. Not to say Zary and McGill won't. But there's just something to it. Chemistry is a big part of the game. And so, yes, I do think Cash holds on to his starting job. He was a freshman All-American.
He was. I think there's a really good chance that Cash holds on to it, and I think that's honestly the best case scenario.
Yeah, me too.
That Cash holds on to this job. Zary and McGill is going to come in with the experience, but if Cash is able to, improve his body, improve his strength, and just be trusted by, Gunner, Pat Shurmur, all these guys after being a freshman All-American, there might be a full-time or a full regular All-American in his future.
Yeah, and I guess I should note, I'm curious what kind of run scheme they want to run. Because I know this is crazy to say, but I don't think they ran the ball enough the last year specifically for me to even know what they were trying to accomplish on the ground.
Absolutely, dude.
So if they, want to run some wide zone stuff, Cash is great for that. If they want to get into more power stuff, maybe they want to get, bigger at the position, which we just talked about them getting bigger everywhere else. So we'll see. I do tend to think it'll be more of a zone running scheme based on the very little that we saw.
I mean, if I had to guess, I think it'd be more zone. I just think that might be slightly easier with a running quarterback if Caden Salter wins the job.
Yeah.
But you've seen in the NFL, we've kind of gone, in a shift back to gap schemes, a lot of power, counter.
Yeah, and most teams are doing both now. Back in the day,
Definitely.
It used to be like, whatever your offensive line coach teaches, that's what you run. Now you can't be that one-track minded, but you're going to have your preference.
For sure. Who do you think is the returner who can make the biggest impact outside of Cash Cleveland?
Other than Jordan Seaton?
Other than Jordan and Cash, I guess the question is, which returner has a chance to break into the starting lineup? Tyler Brown, he's already been there a few years. He's just dealt with a lot, obviously. The NCAA thing, he hasn't really been healthy the entire time, too. Kareem Harden, it's kind of the same thing. He's had his flashes, he's had his moments, had some injuries. Zach Owens is a massive wild card. We heard great things about him last year. I've liked what I've seen from Yo-Yo Atia.
Yep.
I like his mentality, too. Philip Houston, he's coming back. He had a pretty bad injury, though. I don't know if he'll be participating in spring. We'll see.
Okay. I've got 2. And if you make me, I'll go down to 1. But Tyler Brown, going to be the most experienced player on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And experience in college football is more valuable than I think most people understand. I'm hoping that Gunner keeps him in one place.
Yep.
Instead of doing this. I mean, he literally played every position on the offensive line just in spring and fall practices last year.
Yeah, it's way too much.
Went from center to guard to tackle, stayed at tackle, went back to guard during the season. That's not a recipe for success, I don't think.
Yep.
I hope they just say, you're a guard.
He is a guard.
Yes. And allow him to just focus on improving his craft at that position. And then I'll take a flyer on Zach Owens. I can't remember if I said this on the show, but a veteran defensive lineman last season, early in the season, told me that Zach Owens should be getting a chance. That he was that impressed with him in practice and the work that they had done on the side. So that's pretty exciting to hear as early as that was, that he could be that guy this year. Just
to go back on Zach Owens' background here. He was a 2023 recruit, committed to Clemson, was a 251st overall player. 6'6", 365 was his size when he entered college.
Which was too big.
Of course, obviously, way too big. The roster's got to refresh here. Hold on. Now he is listed at, well, they got him listed at 6'6", 375 now. That was last year.
But you look at a picture of him as a freshman versus a picture of him last year.
Exactly.
That weight has moved around.
And as a recruit in 2023, he was a member of the 247 Sports Freak List.
Yeah.
He is someone that you should be excited about, that I think you can expect a jump from in some regard. Like, he should be a factor in this competition this year.
Totally.
So I'm totally with you.
Also, nickname, Flapjack.
Flapjack, yep.
Where do you get pancake blocks as a offensive lineman?
Guard, usually, right?
Well, I'm saying running the football.
Oh, yeah.
When you're moving forward.
Yep.
And so, again, we talk about that emphasis on running the ball. Could be a great fit for him.
I'm intrigued by Yo-Yo Atia, too. I think he's made some strides, and I think just his confidence. Like,
yep.
I love how he carries himself with the team, and I think that comes through in his work. I'm interested, of course, Tyler Brown. I'd love to see him just stay at guard. But Phillip Houston, if he can come back healthy, I think he'd be a factor, too. It's just we don't know where he is in terms of his health at this point.
Phillip Houston was a game changer last year coming in there. He played well. There was a little bit of rare you're going to hear me use a baseball reference. You ever heard about the second time through the lineup in baseball?
Yeah.
It's like a new pitcher comes out and just dazzles them. Second time through the lineup, the hitters have a little better idea of what this guy's doing.
Right.
I thought that happened a little bit for Cash Cleveland. I thought that happened a little bit for Phillip Houston of came out, we're really strong. Teams got a chance to look at their, inefficiencies, if you will, and then we're able to attack those. Now these guys get their chance to counter it. Go work on that, improve there. And so I think that can happen for both those guys.
There's a lot of questions. I understand maybe some hesitation from the fan base, some pessimism even, but I think you should be excited about this offensive line group. And I think that with the changes to the offensive just tendencies and scheme, there's just going to be a better group just from going forward more often.
Totally.
All right, let's take our next break.
That was fun. Fun offensive line discussion.
I was honestly shocked you didn't pick offensive line yesterday because I figured this would be a fun discussion.
That's why I saved it for Friday.
Okay. I see you. Shout out to the homies over at Bet365. You can go bet on the NFL Combine right now over there. I did yesterday. One of my favorite things to bet on, actually, because you have, you have so much evidence, I think, to back up your bets when it comes to the Combine.
Love it.
Not only do you have film on your side, multiple years of film, but we've already been through a lot of these bowl games and stuff. So I saw Jimmy Horn out there running with the other wide receivers at the Shrine Bowl. There's not many players in the country who are just faster than him.
Yeah, there's certain things that I've seen on the football field that he does where I'm like, average fast guy still can't do that.
So he's plus 850 to run the fastest 40 at the combine. If you want to get on it over at Bet365.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, they run tomorrow.
Looking forward to that.
The whole thing is the schedule. I'm not a fan of this year. So today we have on-field workouts for DBs and tight ends. Tomorrow it's running backs, quarterbacks, wideouts, and then offensive line is on Sunday.
All right. Anyways, Bet365.
Anyways, new customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Just sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, and place a bet of $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. You can use those bonus bets on anything, spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Also, if you're like me and you have a Samsung TV, go to the DNVR channel and just leave it there. Every time I turn on my Samsung TV, it opens up to their built-in TV. Mm-hmm. And I have mine set to the DNVR channel. So every time I turn on my TV, immediately whatever's on DNVR is on my screen. And I got to admit, I get hooked. Like, I'll get so distracted. I'm like turning it on to turn on the golf tournament or something.
Yeah.
But then I see like Zach and Henry breaking down what's going to happen with the Broncos or what they're looking for at the combine. And I catch myself watching it for like the next 20 minutes. So that's all of that to tell you. We are now on your television. Samsung TV Plus channel 2348, Xfinity channel 4072. We're on Xumo Play. We're going to keep being on more and more of these fast channels. So we'd appreciate it if you checked us out over there, especially if that's a way that you like to consume television. Check us out. Send us a picture of you watching on your big screen to inthewild@dnvr.com. Again, we'll be featuring some of those submissions live on the show, picking lucky winners for some free merch.
Ooh, get in on it. Okay, sticking with the combine. Shedeur and Travis have taken this thing over, man.
That's what they do.
Exactly. Just some quotes here from Shedeur today. Probably the quote of the day is, "We went from Jackson State to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change the program again? It's history. We've done it again. It's always going to repeat itself." And it's a point we've made on this show about him going at the top of the draft too.
100%, man. This is in stone. I've never been more confident, I don't think, about a quarterback prospect than I am of Shedeur, because I've seen him do it. I know how he carries himself. I know how in his family, failure is not an option.
Yes.
He will do anything and everything and whatever it takes to make sure that his team finds a way to be successful. And there are some fans of teams that are going to look so dumb when their team picks Shedeur and they whine and cry and mope about it.
Yes.
And then he becomes their franchise quarterback.
Yep.
You're going to look so silly. So please take my advice. And even if you think he sucks, just shut up. You're going to look stupid. And then the other people are the ones who act like they don't like this from a quarterback.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here?
Oh, it's so the double standard when it comes to Shedeur and like his confidence is insane.
What are we doing here? You're going to act like you don't want to hear your quarterback be confident.
Yes. Yeah. Listen to Tom Brady talk in his 20-year NFL career.
If I rarely care about these interviews in terms of like, oh, is this guy is going to be this or he's going to be that. But if the Broncos were in the market for a quarterback and the guy that I thought I liked went up there and they asked him, like, do you think you can turn around the franchise? He's like, I don't know. We'll have to see, right? It's a wait and see game. Yeah. I have no idea how my skill set will actually translate to the NFL. I would be like, okay, well, let's pause here for a second. Yep. The greatest players of all time all have an arrogance about them. You have to believe you can be something before you are it.
Yep.
And Shedeur believes that he's going to turn around a franchise. He believes that he's going to be one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the NFL at some point. And I don't want anything other than that, not only at quarterback, but anywhere in my life. Like, I don't want anyone who doesn't believe that they can achieve their goals to be around me.
Absolutely. It's setting the standard. That's what it is. Continuing on with that, Shedeur said that's the plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't pick me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't pick me. You should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question.
I'm like trying to take a break from fighting with people on Twitter.
Yeah.
I get enough rounds in during the season.
Right.
But the one that I keep seeing that I really want to quote tweet and dunk on is people are like, he didn't turn around Colorado. They just beat a bunch of bad teams.
Shut the hell up.
I'm like, brother, you have no idea where we came from.
Yep.
Like, there's not a team that they beat this year that they could have beat that year except for maybe CSU.
Right.
We would have gotten smoked by North Dakota State.
Absolutely.
Annihilated.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that they just beat a bunch of bad teams and Shedeur didn't turn this thing around. And obviously not just Shedeur, but Coach Prime, Travis Hunter, and everyone else that's been a part of this. They absolutely turned this thing around. But it's such a dumb comment that I'm like, I don't even have the energy to like start this fight.
Right. Totally. It's also funny just watching people like say, there was a big tweet today, like Shedeur absolutely crushed his media availability at the Combine. It's like, we already knew he was going to. Like, we know who he is, like how he likes to talk, the points he likes to make. It's just so crazy, the image that people have in their mind about him, just from all the stupid stuff that has happened that Shedeur didn't even start the last couple of years.
Yep.
That he's just gotten like thrown into, that's how people think about him. But when he goes on the podium and they actually hear from him, like they couldn't have just looked up his interviews before this.
Yeah, 100%. I also love that he went with like this backwards hat cocked to the side.
Hell yeah.
Just because I know it's going to piss off the people who already don't like him.
Absolutely, bro.
And I don't know if I've ever seen him wear a hat that way.
I know.
You just went for it today just to like twist the knife on some haters.
I love it.
Curious if Colin Cowherd wants to go after him for it.
Colin's actually a Shedeur guy.
I know, but he's anti-backwards hat.
I know. On to Travis. He was asked about being the first.
Sorry, one last thing about Shedeur's interview, because Girls Club just brought it up. When asked what wide receivers he would, fantasize, I think they said, about throwing to in the NFL, he said Travis Hunter, Will Shepard, Jimmy Horn, and LeJontay Wester. And I was just like, oh, man, that's a banger. And that's not one that you could have, like, pre-rehearsed, I don't think. That's off the top.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely. Travis was asked about the possibility of being first overall, and we had this conversation yesterday, RK. Travis responds, that's super important. That was one of my dreams to go number one.
Yeah. I hope it happens. And I think it's got a really great chance to happen.
I agree.
I think that there's two things. If you are the GM of the Titans and you want a quarterback, I just don't think there's any way you end up not landing on Shedeur Sanders. If you aren't going to take a quarterback, there's truly no way in my mind that you could land on anyone but Travis Hunter.
Yep.
And that reminds me, I need to get in on that bet of Travis Hunter to go number one overall. Imagine that, dude. Travis Hunter had these dreams. And he said, I want to win a Heisman Trophy. I want to be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah. And he's a doer, man.
What a feather in the cap of himself, but also the fact that he trusted Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, to help him reach those goals. And he's very, very close to doing both of those things.
Yep. He's asked about playing both ways, too. I've been doing it for a long time, so I feel like I can keep on doing it. That's not my job to figure it out. I'd like to play both. If they give me the opportunity to play both of the sides of the ball, I'll play both sides. Nobody's done it, but I feel like I put my body through a lot. People don't get to see that part, what I do to my body to make sure I'm 100% for each game, but I know I could do it because I've done it at the college level.
Love it. Jimmy had a great quote today, too, talking about Bucky and just how, he used to be kind of camera shy, and now this is just easy work for him.
Yep. Yeah, so the guys are taking over the NFL Combine. Nothing new.
Also, the Travis Hunter media scrum yesterday is one of the more ridiculous things I've ever seen at the Combine.
You've never seen a scrum that big at the
No.
combine?
The only one I can remember being somewhat close to, I have two that I was actually in, is Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield, I was right in the thick of it, I remember. And gosh, who was on the other, who was there too that no one was talking to? North Carolina quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. Is that the same year?
As Baker? No.
No, that would have been before. I remember there was a Mitch Trubisky one where no one was talking to him. Or no,
crazy.
maybe everyone was talking to Trubisky and no one was talking to Mahomes.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I think that actually what it was. What was.
That's crazy.
Baker. Who was in the? Oh, it's Baker. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, Lamar.
Everyone was at Baker.
Josh Rosen.
A lot less people at Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to think on those. But I think the Travis one's the craziest one I've seen, because even those ones where I'm talking about, there's still like 10, 20 people at the other.
Right.
Obviously, there's a big difference between Baker and Josh Allen and Travis Hunter and Elijah Huzzy. But I think that's going to be this is me calling my shot. That video, which by the way features CHGO's own Mark Carman, Carm, that's going to be his Jokic drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Like when he,
good for him, man.
When he balls out in the NFL and he gets like his first career pick six, they'll be like, remember back at the combine when no one wanted to talk to him except this one guy.
Yep.
And he actually quote tweeted Carm.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's like, I appreciate you, bro. Like, so they've got a little friendship budding there.
With how we're going back to the Super Bowl, how cool would it be to get a Carm Elijah Huzzy interview at a Super Bowl?
Yes, that's going to happen one day for sure.
Oh, that'd be so dope. The only players I could think of that could maybe command a crowd like Travis did would be like Johnny Manziel and Tim Tebow.
I got to see the Shedeur one today.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the zoomed out video of that.
He's got to have a massive crowd too.
Yep.
Okay, a couple of things to get through here. Marshall Faulk yesterday. He was on the Rich Eisen Show. Rich is at the combine. His wife Suze was hosting the show though. And I didn't know. I actually did research on her. She's been like a longtime journalist too.
Love it. Maybe one day I'll let Allie host the show for me. She would crush.
That'd be interesting.
She knows ball and she knows the Buffs.
She does.
So she could do this.
Okay, so he was asked about why he took the job, Marshall Faulk, why he took the job at Colorado to be the running backs coach. My kids were a little younger, but now they don't need me anymore. They're grown. Talking about how his youngest is driving now. You know, he says, man, I've been relieved of my Uber duties. You find ways to be impactful, and the things Coach Prime was saying to me, it made more sense than the things I had to say. This is a great opportunity. We, as in Dion, myself, and Coach Sapp, and a lot of guys that played that coach right now, the game has given us so much. Coaches poured into us so much. We have to give that back to these young kids coming up on football to teach them how to get to the next level, but to make sure they get to the next level the right way. It just all made sense.
Sounds a lot like something Coach Prime would say.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited for this, man. Especially because if you want to call it an experiment, the experiment worked with Warren Sapp.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I know it sounds crazy to say now, but like, there's definitely some people who are like, you can't just take the best players and expect them to be able to teach that. And for some, that might be true.
Sure.
But obviously, Coach Prime knows his friends and knows who would be a good fit for this. He went and got Warren Sapp, and they worked together to do whatever they had to do to get him here. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just him. As part of a team, he turned that group into a bunch of dogs. And so now it's like there's proof of concept here.
Yep.
And there's only one coach who can do this, and it's Coach Prime. He's the only one who can call up Marshall Faulk and say, hey, I need your help. These kids need your help.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Faulk was asked about Coach Prime's pitch. And as Coach Prime has said before,
Doesn't pitch.
He doesn't pitch anything. And Marshall Faulk goes, not really a pitch. Yeah. The position was available. He had a need. We worked together for a long time. We have been friends for a long time. We've talked football a long time. He was just like, this situation is right for you. Dion, what you see is not everything. He's been watching me on social media, listening to the things I've been saying, some of that stuff I've been doing, and some of the guys that play in the league or in college that I have helped influence to get to the next level. And he's like, you are already doing this. It is already part of your scope of work. We're just giving you a place to do it at. And like I said, I'm a person where things have to make sense. He did a good job of having it make sense. It was just like, okay, all right.
Love it, man. I love it. And I love that, like, it's underscores what Coach Prime actually says. Mm-hmm. You know, because there are people who think that he's just full of shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't pitch anything.
Yep.
And then you ask him, what was his pitch? Yeah, I didn't really pitch anything.
Right.
He just told me why it was a good idea.
Yep.
And I have one other thing to say about this. People also think that it's BS when Coach Prime pitches how much he loves Boulder. I'm telling you, dude, you don't get Marshall Faulk and Warren Sapp and people like this to uproot their lives.
Great point.
And move to a place without a very sincere endorsement.
Such a good point.
Coach Prime is telling these guys, dude, you're going to love it here. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man, you know me. I don't even like the cold, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I love it here. And when those guys hear that from him, they're like, all right, well, if he likes it, I think I could like it too.
Definitely. So Coach Sapp, he came and visited right before he became a coach, so he already got to see it. I don't even, has Faulk even been on campus yet? Like,
he was. Yep. Remember, we got a picture of him in practice.
But still, it's like they take one visit, they see what Coach Prime has been telling them, they're just like, yep. Like, that's all it takes for them, pretty much.
Totally. It's got to be. None of these guys weren't thinking of living in Boulder before Coach Prime was here.
Definitely, absolutely. Okay, last thing I've got some rule proposals for the NCAA for 2025. I don't have the full context of these. I can't tell you when this stuff happened. I can just tell you the game that it happened from. So if a defense has 12 players out for a play, it'll be a 5-yard penalty, plus the offense can reset the clock. This is being dubbed an Oregon rule. I guess this happened to Oregon at some point.
Yeah, remember Oregon, Ohio State? Oregon purposefully, according to Dan Lanning, put 12 players on the field for a play.
Right.
And it ran the clock down.
Thank you.
And then Ohio State wasn't able to get a field goal off because like 4 seconds ran off the play before or whatever.
Yeah. Any injury after the ball is spotted will cost a timeout to discourage faking.
After the ball is spotted, though, all that's going to make them do is just do it earlier.
Sure.
But I do like the idea.
It's the intention of it.
The Kansas State rule.
Yes.
Is that what they're calling it?
No, not this one. That's probably my favorite one, I think.
Which, by the way, one of those injuries, at least, that Kansas State had, like, ended up being serious.
Yeah.
And this, I feel for that guy. I hope he's doing well. This is why when I would make up lies when I was in school, I would never say like one of my family members is sick or like someone who died.
I'm right
I
there
don't
with
want
you.
that energy. You fake enough injury, someone's gonna get hurt.
Yep.
I swear to God, I feel that very strongly.
I'm right there with you, man. This one is the Georgia Tech rule, and this was a crazy game. Only one total timeout for the third overtime and beyond, which I absolutely agree with. First off, they need to fix overtime, get rid of these stupid 2-point conversions, and go back to the way it was.
Yes.
But if you're gonna have the 2-point conversions, we don't need a timeout every like overtime set.
Yeah, because there was a game. Did it reference a game?
It's Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they called a timeout every time after they came out.
So stupid.
Genius, actually. But
of course, but
shouldn't be able to do that.
It's just it was a loophole. They took advantage of it. Good for them.
Well, they're just okay. Show us your best. You're gonna give us your best play that you have remaining to get a 2-point conversion. Now we know it. Timeout. You got to burn that one and use a different one.
Replays will no longer be, quote, confirmed or stands. It will only be upheld or overturned.
I don't like that.
Explain.
Confirmed or stands gives us a little more context.
That's true.
Stands means we just didn't have enough to overturn it. Confirmed means no, we were right the first time and we confirmed that.
You're right.
So I don't like that.
They're proposing helmet communications allowed in FCS.
What's your plan with that ice cube?
I don't know, actually.
I saw that fall. I was like, what's he going to do with this? He can't put it back in the cup. He can't just leave it where it is. It's going to make the chair wet. I think your final move there is
that's the
about
right
as good as you can do.
Last one. The T signal on kickoffs will now be treated like a dead ball fair catch. This is the Illinois-South Carolina rule. I can't
say I watched that one.
But apparently at some point someone put their hands out like a T and they weren't granted a fair catch. And someone probably recovered a ball and someone lost a possession.
So wait, the T symbol now what?
Will be treated like a dead ball fair catch.
But if you catch it, I think the T was like letting your teammates know I'm gonna kneel this. Mm-hmm. So now, and maybe someone like faked it.
I wonder if it was on a kickoff where, because you know where the ball lands between the 25 and the 20, or the 25 and the goal line.
Yes.
If you fair catch it,
you get it at the
25.
Yeah.
So someone probably did that in a kickoff, and it was a fair ball. The refs called it the ball live during that situation. That's probably what happened.
Okay.
That's it though. Thoughts on the rule proposals for 2025?
Nothing too offensive to me. I don't like getting less context about overturns or no overturns. But I want regular overtime to be restored. You brought that up.
Yes, dude.
That is such a lame way to end it. And I know, like, soccer fans, we'll say like, yeah, we've had to deal with this with penalty kicks, or, hockey fans will talk about the shootout. Like, there is something to player safety, right? Of like, we can't just leave them out here for another whole quarter or whatever, and beyond.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel real. What about like? I might even feel better about like the 5-yard line.
The one that the injury one is the one that I like.
Yes, good call.
And there's some more context here. This has happened obviously a lot with Ole Miss. They like to play up tempo. Lane Kiffin has complained about this. So the SEC commissioner Greg Sankey has like kind of sent out warnings about it. But then the American Football Coaches Association has also proposed that the quote injured player misses the rest of the series. But then the NCAA had previously announced it would not add in-game penalties for players accused of faking injuries, which I guess is kind of a slippery slope at some point, but you can't allow it to happen.
Yeah,
at the rate it's at.
Someone's probably going to end up getting screwed over by this for something real.
Yes,
someone's actually going to cramp up right before a play starts, and you're either going to have to call a timeout or just let it roll. But I think the percentage of cases that were abusing the rule versus actual real injuries that needed to be tended to was high enough that this makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's it.
All right.
That's all I got today.
What do the people have to say on this lovely Friday?
Wait, can you go back to the chat real quick? Because Reef said it was a great bowl game. He remembers between South Carolina and Illinois where that fair catch thing happened.
What happened, Reef?
Yeah, can you explain it? King Mars is asking about your shirt.
This is a Pivot Podcast shirt. After you guys left the Super Bowl, I went to a Super Bowl party where I think like their agents were putting on. And so they had these shirts there that they gave me one of them. It's pretty sick. I love the shirt. Podcast is legit. I think they might have my favorite Coach Prime interview of anyone.
Yeah.
And I think there might be another interview coming that people might be interested in.
Nice little tease. Jasmine asks, is Cash going to get that scholarship at the spring game? He deserves one.
He does. That would be cool.
Also, I don't know if we talked about this on the show, but I think the walk-ons are going to be grandfathered in, like Camden Dempsey campaigned for. Of course, Cash would fall under that, but I don't know how many other starting centers aren't on scholarship in college football.
Yeah, true. Hit the thumbs up, by the way. It was super low on thumbs up.
Subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up button. Chad asks, RK and Jake, did y'all see Shedeur at the Combine? He gave some gems, and he let people know he is what we think of Shedeur. Absolutely, man. He crushed it.
And
as always.
Just did such a great job of just being him. And I know that's obvious. We've never seen Shedeur not just be him. But A lot of times, I think people get other people in their ear, and we know that Shedeur wouldn't fall victim to this, but like I've seen other guys try to be something that they aren't up there because they're trying to impress everyone.
Right.
Shedeur's like, I'm me, man. Take it or leave it.
Yep. Unapologetically. Reef said it was basically semantics over the fair catch gesture, and then there was also controversy between the coaches about players being injured or faking it. So 2 rules.
It was Illinois. Yeah, remember Bielema was like out on the field, or no, Shane Beamer was out on the field yelling at Bielema. Isn't he the coach of Illinois?
Yes, I believe so. I'm looking on Twitter now.
I do remember there was a coach, quote unquote, altercation.
Oh yeah, this is wild. Shane Beamer is pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is crazy. So that is 2 things that happened at the same time, because someone called the fair catch, I don't know who, but then South Carolina, I think, had an injured player during the play. So yeah, it was just chaos.
A mess. Will Kobe Bryant run faster 40 than Travis Hunter at the combine? Travis isn't running a 40, so
But no.
He wouldn't, but yeah.
No chance. Dr. Bob says super sticker from Dr. Bob. Thank you. Pair character lifting some weights, saying keep it up. Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Let's go.
That's it.
That is it. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy
It's a
Friday.
long week or a short week for you?
I guess longer.
I think it felt shorter than last week for me. It's my second week like back into a normal routine.
Right.
So last week was like, dang, this is long, but I'm back.
I don't know. Like the combine stuff, like it still feels like it's taking forever to get to the good parts of the combine.
Facts.
But doing these position previews really helped, I think, speed the week up too.
All right. Next week, defense.
Yep.
Jake won't be here.
I'm going to be out next week. Yeah. Scotty will be back though.
All my guys are leaving me.
No, we'll be back. I trust you and Scotty to hold down the defense, so you guys got this.
I think we got this for sure. Scotty's going to be doing some heavy lifting.
Put him to work, man. Put him to work. But yeah, chat. I'll see y'all in about a week. Literally, the start of spring football, basically, is when I'm back.
Let's go. Love to see it.
We got some cool stuff planned for that Monday when I'm back. But yeah, spring football right after. So I'll see you then. Miss you. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.